Well, let's look a little bit more about some of the political stories, particularly around today. We're no shortage of them. Dan Hodges, columnist for the Mail on Sunday, joins us now. Dan, very good morning to you. We've just been hearing from our reporter Bradley, sort of testing the waters about what the population there think about Sajid Javid at the helm of health. Do you think he's the right man for the job?
Yes, I do. I mean, we all have to remember the circumstances in which he resigned in the first place, which was after part of his. He fell foul of Dominic Cummings, as obviously a number of his colleagues have. So, but I think it was once Dominic Cummings was sort of packed off out of Downing Street, then I think it was only a matter of time before he returned. I mean, obviously, as others have pointed out, he's very experienced. He's had a number of senior briefs within government. Indeed, I think he's had the most sort of different briefs within government. So I think he certainly brings a wealth of experience. He's popular within the Conservative Party. He's popular amongst his colleagues. He's popular amongst the wider party. And I think after obviously the circumstances of Matt Hancock's resignation, I think it was a sensible move by Boris.
Yeah, he's almost Dan, like the John Reid of this current government. The man is just doing all jobs. Let's talk about the security implications here, though, because there are some around essentially who had access to this CCTV, who filmed it, who leaked it. Talk that MI5 were getting involved in all of this. And this bizarre story that before Sajid Javid turned up at the Department for Health yesterday, someone had literally got some black masking tape to cover over the infamous camera.
Yeah, I mean, I find this absolutely incredible. I mean, I think firstly, I find it incredible that there was a camera active in a Secretary of State's office in the first place. I mean, you have to remember a lot of, even in a department like the Department of Health, there is a lot of discussion about very sensitive issues and indeed national security issues. So the idea there would be a camera in an office in the first place, I find incredible. What I find even more incredible is the fact that the camera was in place and the Secretary of State themselves apparently had no idea it was there, that it was operating and that it was being monitored. And obviously most incredible of all is a feed of that sensitivity ultimately ended up being leaked. And I said it over the weekend. I thought that was an aspect of this whole saga that was being underreported. And actually, we in the Mail on Sunday, we I think revealed that it was actually, as it were, a sort of a formal CCTV feed that was in the office. But I found it incredible last week when Downing Street were briefing journalists. There would be no investigation of how these images got into the public domain. I mean, this is a very, very serious security breach, and it needs to be investigated fully, because we obviously, we cannot have a situation where ministers' private offices are being monitored in this way. And
become very much not private and public, as with what happened with Matt Hancock. Dan, can I just ask you about Boris Johnson's behaviour? You think he's made the right appointment in the new health secretary. Do you think there could be questions? Has he damaged his sort of credibility in showing so much loyalty to Matt Hancock and letting him resign himself?
Well, I certainly think, Matt Hancock's position became untenable from the moment it became clear Matt Hancock had breached Matt Hancock's own rules. The reality is, my understanding is what Boris was hoping for was that he could ride out the political storm for a couple of weeks and then have a reshuffle. I think that the extent to which this whole saga damages the government is entirely dependent on what happens in 3 weeks' time. If in 3 weeks' time we take the final step to unlocking the country, then I think that this saga will fade into the background as people begin to embrace normal life again, as we start to move forward and we start to move forward onto other political issues. If for some reason Boris, however, was forced to extend for another 3 or 4 weeks, and it looked like we were going to get into a situation where we were perpetually having that last step put off, then I think this issue and all issues relating to the government's handling of the coronavirus will then start to create serious problems for the government. So, as I said, I think if we get out in 3 weeks, people will move on. If we don't, there is going to be a backlash. People will look for scapegoats. And I think now that Matt Hancock's gone, I think the only scapegoat left, frankly, would be Boris Johnson.